And 1 minute you can also give me. So, QField. Today I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about where we are going and slightly about what QField is and in general how we came to where we are. Long time ago, I had to finish my master degree and I needed 3 more credits. And there were a lot of, I studied geography and geoinformatics, and there were a lot of lectures, obviously, but I'd taken everything that was about geoinformatics already. And I was like, I can't really be bothered doing something else. And so I went to my professors and asked, hey, can I do a software engineering program course instead? And then they let me. So I did a Google Summer of Code, got accepted, and that's how QGIS for Android started. It really looked like QGIS just on a 3-inch phone. We are talking 2011. It was absolutely and utterly unusable, but it was good. Because the plan has always been to first get it to work, then to get rid of the user interface and put a nice user interface on top of it, and then create a server backend that would allow seamless synchronization. Forward 10 years later, 2021, note that my birthday is on June 7th. The day after my birthday, I always feel very giving. And that's the day where apparently, and this is by chance, I did the first commit of QField and where we finally released QField Cloud as an open source tool. It's really cool because it grew a lot. In those 10 years, it went from my last 3 credits into, and we will see later on, a project that has almost 2 million downloads. And that is why last summer we said, okay, we are really growing a lot. And we should probably know where we are going. And this is a little bit what I want to talk about today. How did we approach this? What did we do? Well, we asked the 5 people that had invested most in their life in QField to write a front page of a newspaper of 2034. And the front page should be about QField. And we got some interesting things out. I'm the one with the very bad handwriting over there. For me, it was about the UN Secretary General praising QField at the UN Assembly. Then we had somebody that says that QField won its latest award. Then somebody that said that it's an app, that it's a must for almost everybody. Then we had the QField Summit being a great success again. And then we had one of us that wrote the app that mapped the world. And this kind of really stuck, sort of. It was a nice sentence that finally turned into very closely to what we decided to be our vision. And that is that QField empowers people to map and understand the world. We have a subtag line that goes into for everyone, for everywhere, and for small tasks or big tasks. But the key point is that we want to empower people understanding where they live, and we want to give them a tool that can be a massive boost to what they are doing. As I said before, we have 500,000 active users every month on QField. And this is only Android. I'm giving you all the numbers I gave is Android, because it's a little bit easier to get than the iOS numbers. But iOS is probably 1/4 of what Android is, because we only had it since 2.5 years. We have 1.6 million downloads, and the crazy thing is that it took us until last year to get to 1 million. And in the last 12 months, we get 650,000 new downloads. So we're going to hit the 2 million mark probably next spring, which is going to be exactly 1 year after we did our big marketing campaign for 1 million downloads. So it's growing massively. And we never forget what we really care about, and that is being good. And that is why we applied to become a digital public good, and we got easily accepted. Our mission is we obviously broke down then the vision into missions, and here we had really a lot of work where we did with what we want to do, what do we care about, where do we want our users to be, and here is really where we managed to break down things into, we want it to be intuitive. We know that QField was scary at the beginning. When it was QGIS for Android, it was very scary. It was not something that you should have used, but it was okay, it was the plan. It got easier and easier, but the goal is to make it even easier. And that is why the next 6 months, we have a big focus on UI and UX. We do still want to be pioneering collaborative spatial work. We are the ones that kind of started the whole thing. QField is the first app that was meant for field working, and that has been pushing boundaries in that direction. And we want to keep doing that. It's not because we are at a good place now that we will be at a good place all the time if we don't keep on moving forward. And in this sense, we want to be innovation drivers as well. We just don't want to copy. Well, there's nobody to copy really, but we want to really push forward. And then, and I see Sele here, so obviously one of the main points for us is to be good with community. We want engaged communities. We want to be good examples of how communities can be built. And I think here we are also doing a good job. We invested, that was the first mission that we tackled in the last year. So after doing this work, we decided, okay, which mission is the first one we go on? And it was engaged community. We created a lot of work around that. I said before that we want to be good, and that goes in many senses. First of all, we are doing open source, which is, for me, inherently good. We are giving even the tools, even the cloud part that has a paid service behind it, we also there are giving a free tier so that a person can just do the things that they want to do without having to care about money, or they can obviously run it themselves. But then we started also looking into what impact we have. And well, that was part of the public digital good application. They ask you, for which SDG are you, which is the SDG you're relevant for? And I went through the list, I was like, well, I actually need to put at least 6. Actually, you could put any SDGs for QField because it's such a broad tool that it really depends on what you are doing with it. The 6 that I chose were ones that for me were really clear, that I know people are doing things in there, and that is why I chose those ones. Where are we at? Currently, version 3.7. The upper row I mentioned. Maybe what I haven't mentioned yet is how happy the users are with us. And how it still hurts me when I get 1-star reviews, especially when the comment is like crap or rubbish, and you're like, hey, I cannot interact with that because it doesn't give me a possibility to make it better. So if you give 1-star reviews to anybody, it's fully okay, but tell them why, because then they can become better. And that is a really important thing that people don't really get. I know frustration is like, 1 star, but why? And that is really, I have a notification from Android Play Store that forwards me an email, like the evaluation we get for 1 and 2 stars. So they always end up in my inbox, and every time it's like, oh. But sometimes it's like, oh, yeah, we need to fix that. True, you're right. Sometimes it's just like, whatever. What is QField? If you've never used it before, well, it's a tool to collect, collaborate, and you can customize it. It's made for collecting data or for editing data on the field. So it brings you the data that you have right where you are at in that moment. And I think we are doing a really good job there. And we often get asked, why should I use it? Well, to me, because it's really a good tool, obviously. I'm not building it that much anymore. I'm not involved in the development. I mean, I tell people what I think we should be doing, but I don't code it anymore. That's why it got so good. And yeah, you need to get better people than yourself in your projects. That's what makes projects great. I have a very broad vision. I know a lot of things, but they know a lot of very deep things, which are really important. So yeah. Why does it work? Because, well, obviously, being open source is a good thing. It seamlessly works with QGIS. There is no configuration of QField you create a project in QGIS. Version 4.0 that will come in December has a very minimal possibility to just start using QField directly without needing to interact with QGIS. Very simple project, wizard creator at the beginning that removes the biggest pain point of QField, which is having to use QGIS because QGIS is an expert tool. It saves a lot of time, it saves you errors. People on the field can really give the data that they are seeing. It allows you to take pictures, videos, you know, those kind of rich information that you cannot get from the desktop. And the next question is, who is using it? And well, the real answer is almost, I don't know. I do know of some people. I do know of some projects that are using it. But there are a lot of people using it, so there's a lot of things that I have no clue about. And funnily enough, last night when I was finishing the presentation, I was like, let me have a look at the schedule of this conference and see what people are doing with QField, actually. And there are 19 presentations that mention QField. My team has done, I think, 6 or 7 of them, but still there are like 10, 12 other people. And so here are some examples of what people are doing. The Finns are doing their old map production with it. Digital Earth Pacific, down there, they are doing plenty of work with it. I think I was working at SPC back then, and they've been pushing it a lot. Kiribati, Tonga, Vanuatu, surveying infrastructure for resilience. Fiji and Tonga identifying forest invasive species. ZIP, probably one of the biggest use cases we have so far. They reduced an area of 250,000 acres from 500,000 possums. And I was there by chance last week. I was passing by Franz Josef, and I wrote to one of them, hey, by the way, cheers from Franz Josef. And it's like, why? Our biggest base is in Franz Josef, come by. And they showed me the project. It's like, yeah, you know, we had this 500,000 possum, and now we have 5. I was like, that's not good. It's like, no, 5 possum. And I was like, look, they are here, 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 and here. And I was blown away because I know that, okay, it's killing animals, but they are pests. So it's a massive thing that is happening. They are managing 20,000 traps and camps out in a massive area, and they're doing it with QField. And they tell me, you know, before QField Cloud, we had so much work to do, and it has been a game changer. And when I hear this thing, I forget the 1-star reviews. That's really good. Then we had another presentation about infrastructure in Italy. And then later, if you want to hear what the Finns are doing, follow me right after this presentation. I'm running there to listen what they are doing. So a lot of work that has been happening. And I think when I looked at the schedule, I was like, really, wow, that's not bad. We are the second most mentioned tool after QGIS in this conference, which I'd say good job. But I do actually know a little bit more. And the next use cases, I can explain a bit more. Finland, they take care of all the map production. They go out with 120 people in the field with QField in very Finnish conditions. That's probably midday in January. And they really take care of all the map production with a complete system based on QGIS and QField and PostGIS. They really go and listen to a presentation. It's really inspiring because it's a big country. The possum presentation from yesterday, have a look at it in the recordings when it will come out. Was really also 20,000 points per month they're doing currently. So, and then some more that we know about to show how wide actually the use case is. These guys, we call them the Indiana Jones of Germany. They've paid a lot of developments in QField as well, things that they needed, because what they do is take care of historic buildings that are endangered by natural catastrophes. Floods are becoming very common in Europe as well, more and more. So the Kulturretter from the Deutsche Archäologische Institut are really setting up this. They have set up this big workflow where as soon as there is a flood warning or something happening, they are ready to go and take care of the building that they know that are historic. And sometimes they even discover when somebody's trying to build something new, they'll discover that there are fundaments that look really old, and then they go and take care. And so it's a really cool thing. So we have a big country doing all their mapping. Then we have pest protection. Now we have some natural catastrophe, and these are all big things, like big organizations. But what I like a lot is that we also have the single person that is tracking his own safety because he's doing NGO reporting against the government. And he's tracking his position with QField and publishing it so that his friend know where he is. And that he can just very simply load GeoPDFs with QField that somebody sent to him, have a look, go and have a look if they're doing illegal harvesting there. And he can just open he's not a tech person, he's a journalist. I mean, not that the tech person cannot be a journalist, but he is mainly a journalist. And he really likes he has no strings attached. He can just take a GeoPDF, open it, and it opens up. It even adds for him a OpenStreetMap base map in the background so that the person knows how to orient him, and he can share his position. So really, really cool there. And then we go, funnily enough, to Costa Rica to stay less home. This is again another very, very big project where the whole country decided to go with QField to manage their wastewater management. This is a project that is starting, I mean, the implementation has been going on, and they are going to production, I think, in January next year, so in a month. And we're super happy because Costa Rica is a country that it's kind of looked at in Central America, so probably other country will kind of be following up. And probably to me, I don't know how to say, like the most touching thing that I had lately is, sorry. Hot2SM engaged with us in June. I met Lane, I don't know if it was a coincidence. She came by our booth at Living Planet Symposium in Vienna, and just like, you know what HOT is? I was like, yes, I've been building this thing up, hoping that HOT can start using it. And this was June, and 2 months after, we had a merge where they are allowing now. Sorry. You know, HOT does a lot of good things. Yeah. I crack it. Yeah, they do a lot of good. I just need to get rid of the slide, and it's all good again. They do a lot of good things, and I've been working a lot to put the tool at the position to become a tool being used by HOT, and it happened, and that's amazing. And that was to me really touching. I wrote to her, I was like, oh, Lynn, I'm super happy. You don't know how much I'm happy. What do they do with it? Why do they use QField? Because thanks to the technology that we have in there, you get to be very high precision and very smart. You get very cool stuff out of hardware that is in many countries ubiquitous. Yes, there are still countries where a smartphone is still a big luxury, but it's a big luxury that it's probably easier and easier to get. Maybe not everybody has a smartphone everywhere, but probably there is in a village somebody that has one. Or we can easily bring one. There are people like Feya that are doing super cool initiatives, teaching people how to do this, independently of if it's with QField or not. HOT, they go out and teach people how to manage their own data. And that is fantastic. And thanks to the feature that we offer in QField, they have a tool that is best in class. Sorry, I'm biased, but it is a really good tool. I mean, there are other tools, of course, out there. There are other very good tools in open source as well. But if you want a map, QField is probably one of probably the way to go. We can capture complex things or very simple. on a very simple interface. You can go crazily complex and still hide it behind some very simple functionality. So the difficulty of QField is not using it on the field. It is being good in QGIS to set up this complexity hidden away. And QField gives you the tools, but QGIS is really where you are doing the shiny work. So if you have a good administrator creating good projects, then you can get the maximum out of it. What we try to do is really create a new path for people that don't have that good administrator, that creates a project for them, to create a path where they also can get these very high quality projects without having to have a QGIS expert in-house. And that is why we did with with QField 4.0. QGIS 4.0 is also coming. That's why I get confused all the time. But QField 4.0 is coming in December, and that is why there we added this simplified path where in 3 clicks you can create your own project, choose which base map you want, if you want it colorful, white, or dark. Say if you want to track your position, say if you want to take notes with pictures, and that's it. That's all you do. Say if you want to save it in the cloud, that's it. So a couple of clicks, you get your project that you can go out and digitize. Things like digitizing pictures, videos, as I said. The important thing is that because we are open source, or not because we are how we are and we like open source, we also like open standards. That makes that it's really easy to do things in QField and then go somewhere else. We're not trying to lock you into QField. It's like, do what you can with QField and then get the data out and do it in another tool if you need to. Of course, we try to make your life as easy as possible. There is QField Cloud where your people in the field can just sync the data back and push it back to your office, and you don't even have to take care of that part. But if you don't want to do that, we don't want you to have to do that. I've always been very adamant on truly letting people do what they want with the tool that we are creating, because I think that people should stay because they like it and not because we are obliging them to stay. And this is a very deep value for me. This I'm going to skip. Last thing, last 2 things I'm going to mention is QField has plugin support. If you have been using the app for the conference, you've used plugins. QField normally looks green. If you use the app, it was blue. That's because a plugin can change the color, can change the appearance, can put a logo there, can even put moving buses in there. So plugins are really a way to completely customize QField for yourself without having to deal with managing an app, which is a huge task. So what we do with QField is really, we say, we manage it, we keep on pushing new features. If you have something very specific that you need to do and you want to do, just do it in a plugin. It's a little bit of code. I think this one here is maybe 100 lines of code, JavaScript. So super easy and easy to deploy. You can even take your XLS forms if you're already using another tool, convert them in QGIS into a QGIS project, publish them. That's it. We printed some caps in a New Zealander website. Apparently they were produced in Australia, and they were stuck at customs until today, so we need to get rid of them today. Thanks.
Awesome. Great presentation. I think we have time for maybe one question. Any question? Anyone have a question out there? All right. Come talk to Marco. Marco, excellent talk. Thank you so much.